Jumbo, Habari, Gani, and Zunu Sana. How's it going? Your boy MongoSlade's here with a episode of Three Count Commentary, live edition of Rasslin Potpourri for your earbuds. If anybody can hear me, let me know. If you can't hear me, let me know. Um, so we got quite a few stories to go through. Things that is just interesting things. Some very interesting things are afoot around here in this wrestling business. It's lawsuit season, so a bunch of people getting sued. Um, just everybody suing everybody all of a sudden. Um, so, but we're going to start with, of course, Tony Khan claiming that AEW is going to be the second most profitable wrestling company of all time. Then we're going to talk about Odyssey Jones, which I purposefully waited several days to talk about because I wanted to see if anything was going to emerge from the Odyssey Jones scenario. So far, nothing has occurred yet. Um, so we're going to talk about that too. We're going to talk about the allegations against your boy Odyssey Jones. We're going to talk about Cody Rhodes getting sued. We're going to talk about that too. Then I guess we could start, even though it's not in the headline, with the Mr. McMahon trailer from Netflix, which came on like a nuclear bomb on this afternoon. So the trailer goes to show that they're going to talk about pretty much everything. They're going to talk about everything. WG Phil, AJ3, how you guys doing? Glad you're here. You guys are almost always among the first couple that show up. But the trailer for Mr. McMahon shows that they're not shying away from the steroid scandal. They're not shying away from the Benoit scandal. They're not going to run away from his most recent scandals. It seems like they're actually going to get in there and do the work and work through things. And I don't think we've ever heard Vince McMahon's personal opinion on some of these issues. Some of these issues, man, I don't think we've ever heard Vince talk about candidly. There's a difference between, and I think this is what they've always tried to do with Vince, is there's always been a canned corporate response to everything. There's always been Vince McMahon speaking as chairman of the company, chairman of the board, or whatever. So there's a certain kind of attitude you got to have, certain kind of approach that you got to take when you're talking about the Benoit tragedy while it's happening. Certain attitude you had to have and stance you got to take during the steroid scandal while it's happening. So on some of these things, you're talking about 20 or 30 years of Vince being away from it. He, I literally am interested in how he's going to discuss like being on Donahue and the Ring Boy scandal and all that stuff. I'm very interested in how he's going to handle that because it seems like they're going to go there. Now, the Ring Boy scandal, they did not tease that. They did not tease the Ring Boy scandal, but they did tease the steroid scandal, um, the wrestler deaths, and Benoit. And no doubt they're going to have to talk about Owen Hart. I don't think you can have this thing without talking about Owen Hart. So I'm really wondering how Vince, without corporate counsel whispering in his ear and him having to think about the company. Well, I guess he was still working for the company when he did his interview, so maybe he still will try to protect them. But maybe we'll get his personal thoughts, his personal feelings on this thing. You know, so I'm very interested in what his thoughts are on like the Ring Boy scandal, um, the wrestler deaths. I'm very interested in that stuff. His personal thoughts on Benoit and how it affected the business. How we're going to pivot. Look, everybody wants to talk about the Janelle Grant stuff, and yeah, that's interesting, but that's like episode 6, material. I'm talking like this is episode 2 or 3 material we're talking about here. There were so many scandals during Vince McMahon that he had to manage, you know. And hopefully they don't dissolve into Montreal screw job, and I don't care about that. I'm tired of hearing about the Montreal screw job. I don't want to hear about that. I also really don't want to hear Vince talk about baseless rumors like Randy Savage having sex with his daughter. I don't want to. I don't want to get into that kind of stuff either. I want to get into real things that he was a part of that we never heard him talk candidly about. You know, Brian Pillman being found dead in a hotel room, and then why did you put his wife on television right after that? I want to know about the Owen Hart scenario. What was the thought process? Why should the show keep going? I want to hear him explain why the show should have kept going. Eddie Guerrero being found dead in a hotel room. What was his thoughts on that? The Chris Benoit tragedy, his personal reaction to that. I'm very interested. I wonder if he's going to respond to any of the stuff about like the sexual harassment stuff, because I think his Vince was participating up until I think the most recent sex trafficking lawsuit. So when the stuff happened with the Wall Street, it seemed like they're going to talk about that because that would have been around the same time Vince was selling the company. And something tells me that they're going to talk about selling the company. So I would imagine they're going to ask Vince at least about the initial Wall Street allegations of NDAs and sexual impropriety and all that sort of stuff. But at the same time, though, what are you expecting from that part of the story, considering he's been under investigation for financial crimes, and to my knowledge, that stuff is still going on. And that's just to my knowledge. That stuff is still going on. So what can he really say if they're claiming that he embezzled money or anything like that? D asked a very good question. Is Linda going to pop up? My God. Because now we got that just blows my mind even more, because it's like, is Linda going to have an opinion on all this stuff? I'm very interested. AJ3 says the concussions, the independent contractors that allow the wrestlers who sue the company while he was running it. Oh yeah, the concussion lawsuit. Well, they won the concussion lawsuit pretty easily. It didn't go to trial or anything, but I would love if they could touch on it. The independent contractor stuff. I'm also into the nuggets of, I'm pretty sure they're not going to go into this, but him trying to get wrestling deregulated, like that's another thing that I'm very interested in. The idea behind it. What was the strategy? I mean, because we know the strategy is they had to go state by state to get wrestling deregulated. Like they had to go into Pennsylvania, into New York, into New Jersey, and try to get wrestling deregulated. So, that cost them a lot of money and time, and they exposed the business and a bunch of other stuff that was going on. But that's like episode 1 or episode 2 stuff that they're talking about. What we're talking about here. But yeah, whether his family's going to be involved, like Linda and Shane and Stephanie, that's going to be extremely interesting. Is he going to touch on some of the most insane rumors, like Vince McMahon in a briefcase full of cash gets Jimmy Snuka out of prison? Is he going to address that, or is that even worth addressing? Because that seems to be something that really only exists on the internet. That's like Stephanie having sex with Randy Savage seems to only really exist on the internet. It doesn't seem to really exist outside of the internet. So we don't know. We don't know, but I'm very interested in, and that's why I think this thing could have been 12 hours. You could have stretched this thing and just said, hey, the first 4 are just going to be the 80s. You know, because I want to hear him talk about WrestleMania. I want to hear him talk about WrestleMania 3, watching Andre the Giant deteriorate to the point where he couldn't use him anymore. I want to hear him talk about Jimmy Snuka. Um, you know, then the next 4 episodes could be about the '90s, where you got the Ring Boy scandal, which would include his relationship with Pat Patterson, of course, WCW, ECW, the Attitude Era, the company losing money in 1995. You know, his thought process around turning that around. And then the next 4 episodes could be about the early 2000s, the ruthless aggression era. I think he was accused of sexual assault by that woman in the tennis salon. Uh, then there was Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit passing away. Um, the concussion lawsuit, and then the next could be like everything from 2010 forward. So it could be WWE going PG, um, the rise of UFC, how it affected the business, getting rid of pay per view and creating the WWE network, um, the the deaths of well, I said Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit. Just there's just so much stuff you could do there. There's so much stuff you could do there. I can almost guarantee you 100% Martha Hart is not going to be there. You know, I can almost guarantee you Martha Hart will not be present. WG Phil says, "What episode? What did you think the episode that will see Vince cry?" I think he's going to cry talking about his family. The early episodes talking about his dad, his mom, probably growing up in the trailer park. That's probably going to make him cry. I think it's going to be regular old Vince McMahon after the first episode or so. You know, I think the first 2 episodes you might see more tears than you will see in the later episodes. I think he's going to become cold, ruthless Vince McMahon businessman after that. But he might cry over his mom and his brother and his dad. Um, but there's a lot of things that I want to hear him discuss. You know, the various promoters supposed to be getting together to kill him. You know, being hated by the internet wrestling fan. You know, there's so much stuff. There's just so much. You can't get to everything. It's just impossible. You're not going to be able to get. Even if you had 12 episodes, you probably wouldn't be able to get to everything. You'd have to do an entire season. I'm talking 26 full eps just to get to 2010. You know, because I'm very interested in his view on things like rock and wrestling and China and China's death. Um, the situation between Stephanie and Triple H in China, which was of course there for a while. There's just so many different things we could discuss. Top Dog says, I would love to see Vince talk about the 80s and Hogan and him getting into 80s pop culture with Cyndi Lauper, MTV, Mr. T, and the crossover with them. Yeah, I would love for him to talk about that. The Ultimate Warrior. I think the Ultimate Warrior is a good one, but I think he did that hit job on the Ultimate Warrior, and then they spent all of 2004 and 2005 walking all that stuff back. Robert Jr. says, I'm interested to hear the mentality that Vince kind of gave to the wrestlers back then. If you're hurt, to still show up and work through the injury. Well, that's just too many people are like, Vince forced wrestlers to work injured. It's like most wrestlers would have worked injured because that if you don't work, you don't eat. So they voluntarily worked hurt. So just like I've been working on an injured foot for 5 months now, it seems like. I can't even tell you what the source of my injured foot is. I think I might have some nerve damage in my heel or something. Like everybody gets up and goes to work hurt. Now, you're not going to go work with like a torn hamstring or something like that. But that's just the mentality of pro wrestlers and athletes in general as they work through it. So I'm not really thinking too much about that. But to continue the pay-per-view after Owen Hart fell, I'm interested about that. I have a great deal of intrigue about that. So there's a lot when it comes to Vince McMahon that I'm so interested in. And I know that these things are not that important. They're not going to really get into them. But it would be nice if we could. You know, it'd be very nice if we could. So it would be interesting. I look forward to it. September 25th is a Friday, if I remember correctly. So the only problem I'm going to have is I don't have Netflix, and I don't have any interest in getting Netflix. So how am I going to watch it? And I'm going to have to put some thought into it because I might have to sell the high seas. And that's just going to get it spoiled for me because people are going to watch it. And unless I could catch a live, and are they going to, well, also the kind of question is, are they going to drop all 6 episodes at once, or they're going to spread them out over a month? Because it seems to me like it would be best suited to spread all of that stuff out over a month. That seems to be the best suit for me. Top Dog says he would love to see Vince McMahon's thoughts on 80s hair metal like Guns N' Roses. I can almost guarantee he has no idea about. I mean, this is a guy who doesn't watch movies. Like, that's the kind of shit that makes me interested. Is he's not really up on pop culture. Like, he's not a pop culture guy. So, like, I know that the idea of rock and wrestling came from Dave Wolf, who was the manager of Cyndi Lauper. It didn't come from Vince McMahon being like this young guy in the entertainment business. Like, that's not where it came from. It came from another guy who was already in the entertainment business. So, but I'm interested in his like thoughts and process and how he figured he was going to make it work. Um, I really don't know if I want to hear Vince talk about the other territories and competing with them, even though it might be fun to hear him talk about that kind of stuff. But I don't know. There's just so much. Like, to me, Vince probably needs a podcast. Like, he needs like to sit down with Conrad for like 4 hours or something, and somebody to read to him the Observer. And he got so much free time now. He could probably crush everybody if he does a podcast. He'd probably make more money podcasting than he did doing anything else with WWE. Just imagine episode 1 of a Vince McMahon podcast would probably kill Cornette and everything else if he gets into the podcasting space. But I don't think he's like almost 80 years old. Why would he want to do that? Do you think we hear stuff about Pat Patterson? Yes, I do. Because I think now the Ring Boy scandal, like I said earlier, it was not teased like the rest of the stuff was. But I think that you have to talk about it. I do think you have to talk about it. It was one of those crazy scandals that existed at the time. Something tells me that Vince was going to piss everybody off by saying it was all bullshit and they were all charlatans. Even though I think Tom Cole was legit. And I think probably a couple of other guys were legit. But Murray Hodgkinson was there. So they might just address the Donahue appearance. And the guy that was on Donahue was a liar. So if they only address him being on Donahue, then it's going to be a light. But if they address like Tom Cole and, hey, who was Mel Phillips and this other guy and what were their jobs in WWE and when did you find out? But that's more of an interrogation. Again, that's another thing where you have to have a podcast with him talking about that. You need 3 hours of him sitting down talking about these individuals who he probably don't even remember. The accusers, more than likely the people he don't remember, the lawsuits. That's why I'm kind of surprised that McDevitt didn't have a podcast. Like, McDevitt, if he was to do a podcast, he would crush, because all he got to do is sit down and talk about WWE stuff, and he could kill if he was to do podcasts. I mean, I think if Vince like dies or something like that, then maybe Jerry McDevitt would do a podcast and just talk about the the Ring Boy scandal, the steroid trial, the concussions, all that stuff. These guys are leaving money on the table. Usually somebody as quote unquote money hungry as Vince McMahon or something like that would write a book, or they podcast themselves into a whole new batch of billions. But to be quite honest, who would host his podcast? His name is shredded wheat at this point, you know. And until this whole thing is over with Janelle Grant, it's proven that he didn't do it and didn't do any of it. Nobody would host this podcast anyway. Like, who would host it? Outside of the Ringer, maybe Bill Simmons would, but most people wouldn't give him. And he would probably, his asking price would probably be in the Joe Rogan range. I'm talking hundreds of millions of dollars. So I definitely think he should try it, or Jerry McDevitt should try it. I think that if McDevitt's no longer, he's retired, he no longer works for WWE. All the cases he would talk about are long over. Yeah, he should do it. And it don't take him that long, 2 hours a week for, I don't know, a year or so. He'll probably have the #1 wrestling podcast in the world. And all he's doing is talking about these scandals that he worked on. The Owen Hart scandal, the worldwide. He wasn't part of the WWF scandal with the World Wildlife Fund. He wasn't part of that. Actually, they lost that lawsuit in Europe. They didn't lose it in the United States. They lost it in Europe, and that still forced them to change their initials. But whatever. But even that situation, there's so many situations that I would love to hear Jerry McDevitt talk about. I would love to hear him explain the independent contractors kind of thing, all that stuff. That could be fun too. Like, these guys are absolutely leaving money on the table. They're very old. They probably should have retired 10 years ago and started podcasting, but they didn't. So now here it is. All we got is this. Now all we got is this documentary. Lorenzo Ortiz says, I wonder what hidden stories they will tell once Vince passes. Well, the thing is, what more could there be? My whole thing is, and I've always kind of believed that you probably have a love child out there somewhere. And usually when it comes to sometimes big celebrities, you don't find that out until they're dead. So I think that he probably got some girl pregnant or something. Like, something just tells me that he probably got some chick pregnant, and there's another McMahon out there somewhere. But who knows what kind of crazy stories will pop out once Vince dies? Because people say so much stuff now that he's alive, and it's like there's no fear of being sued. Like, once you said, like, Rita Chatterton called him a rapist in like the 80s, and he never sued her. He talked about suing her, but then the steroid trial happened and the Ring Boy scandal happened, and he dropped it. And that was kind of it. He wanted to focus his energies towards, beating those federal cases and, dealing with the damage the Ring Boy scandal was doing to the company. So he went away from it, but there was no lawsuit for that. People have, said Vince McMahon ruined everything about their lives and all this kind of shit. What are you saving for him to die for? Like, the people want to hear right now that he molested you or raped you or whatever. So, and there's no reason why people wouldn't do that. So that's kind of like my question is, now that the floodgates are open and there's supposedly all of these wronged women out there, none of them have, nobody else has a story to tell, just Janelle Grant. Okay. That's suspicious. But especially since we're supposed to have all these victims, you would think that she would be the first, and then there would be a bunch of others coming in. And Janelle Grant's attorney claimed that there's going to be a bunch of others, but we haven't seen them, so we don't know. So let's talk about next. We got Tony Khan. Oh boy. Tiny Tony. Tony Khan says it's reasonable AEW will be second most profitable wrestling company ever. Upon seeing this headline, if it wasn't online, I would have underlined the word profitable because we don't know for sure that they're even making a profit. Now, this is from F4W Online. So it says Khan was asked about a recent MJF interview in which the former AEW World Champion mentioned that if AEW gets their new deal, they will be, quote, the second most successful wrestling company that has ever existed. He said that's reasonable. Whether those cash flows happen overnight when the new deal kicks in, I can't say those things for sure yet, as there's still a lot to figure out. I do think the die is cast that AEW will be the second most profitable company at this point of all time, which is very impressive for a promotion that is just over 5 years old and has been on TV for less than 5 years. Okay, now the renewal deal is not done. All these people are bragging about this renewal deal that is not done. He also has no idea how much money WCW made or how much Jim Crockett Promotions has made before. But it's fairly clear that WWE is number one. Who is number two is a very important question. Because we know WCW lost money for years. So they might not be the second most profitable. They might have been the second biggest, but I don't know if they were the second most profitable. I can pretty much tell you Jim Crockett Promotions likely was more profitable than WCW was. And I know that Jim Crockett Promotions became WCW. Maybe World Class was more profitable. Maybe Mid-South. I know Toronto and Montreal were pretty big too, but maybe not on that level. So, but I guess he's comparing himself to WCW again. This is probably going to set off Eric Bischoff one more time. But I think contrary to popular belief, I think that this might actually be true. AEW has made huge strides in less than 5 years. And no matter how much you dislike the company and you dislike the elite, what they have been able to do in a short amount of time has been nothing short of impressive. You know, you look at pretty much any company within its first 5 years, they have never burned as bright as AEW. The problem with that is that the brighter things burn, the quicker they burn out. And that's my problem is the longevity issue. Is AEW going to be around in 10 years, 15 years? And in what way? Because TNA is still around. But TNA, I think, lost money its first year. TNA got bought, or just about bought in its first year. You know, because according to Jerry Jarrett's book, Panda started talking about buying TNA early in the TNA run. I'm talking like really early. I don't even think they had 20 episodes in before Panda showed up, willing to buy 51% of the company. So, you know, I'm very interested in what they got going on over there. But it seems to me like what he's saying is it's not ridiculous because it's very hard to make money in wrestling. And Tony Khan has found a way to do that. But we don't know if AEW is actually profitable. So for me, if he wants to make this argument, he should definitely show his work and show that this company is profitable. Show me that the company is profitable, and then I'll believe you. There's at least video of Donald Trump in that document because we've seen it. Robert Jr. says, I guarantee CM Punk will be watching this documentary while eating Mindy's Bakery's muffins. everybody's going to watch it, even though people are going to claim that they're not going to watch it or they don't care or they're not interested. They're going to watch it because nobody's going to want to be the idiot who didn't watch it. Nobody's going to want to be the guy who who isn't interested, especially people who actually know him. Like a lot of the wrestlers who know him or have met him in passing, because they're starting to have, even though he's only been gone like a year or two, there's NIL talent or whatever who never met him. They never seen him in person. They're gonna be interested. And just hearing those people talk about it, if you're like a CM Punk or a Cody Rhodes, you're gonna definitely be like, yeah, I know the guy. I worked for him for a decade or whatever, but you still want to know what his opinions are on certain things and how he's going to talk about certain things. And that's why when he did the Stone Cold podcast, everybody was enamored with that episode. Remember what he said about Cesaro that got everybody all tight ass, and he ended up being 100% right. That was crazy, wasn't it? That was sick, wasn't it? The crazy thing is, there was a video somebody posted online of Vince trashing Phil Mushnick. I want to play some audio from that because I just thought about it. This is why Vince McMahon is one of my favorite people, because you would think that he would take that win and just go away, but no, he didn't. He decided to rub it in. Where is don't tell me I didn't bookmark the video, because I should have bookmarked that video. I don't want to leave any dead air. WG Phil says, do you think the documentary might humanize, demonize, or people's thoughts are already made up about Vince? Well, a large number of those people, their thoughts are already made up. So really what this does is it humanizes them. They were very upset about the Pat McAfee interview because they thought the Pat McAfee interview humanized him. Anytime he's not talking in character, people are like, you're humanizing Vince. He's a psycho murderer. It's like, well, not really. He's a grandpa. Like he's a really old man. He's not, feisty Vince McMahon from, 1992 or anything like that. He's an old man. I think it's easier for people to think that Vince is forever young, virile, and evil. I think he's substantially less evil today than he was in the past. That doesn't mean that he's not evil. It just means I think he's less evil than he was in the past. People tend to mellow out in their old age. So I think he probably mellowed out a little bit since he got old. But I'm trying to find this video because I want to play the audio of it. It's so damn funny. Um, it's just been a dick. And it's funny because it's one of the reasons why he's one of my favorite people. You try to ask people like, why do you like Vince McMahon? You gotta say, look, the stuff that he's pulled and the stuff that he got away with, how do you not appreciate that? You can hate some of his behaviors. You can hate some of his thoughts and his feelings on pro wrestling and all that shit. But ultimately, there is some really hilarious shit that this guy's pulled off in the public eye that is going to be entertaining. So we ought to be very interested in what's going on. So I'm trying to find that. Where is it? Where is that video? Where is the video? Somebody recently just posted it too, so it shouldn't have been this hard to find. You know, one thing I don't think people should do is get their information from TikTok. I just don't think you should listen to TikTok historians. I just don't think it's a good idea. Um, TikTok historians. Oh boy. Oh my God. I didn't even like the video because I can't find it anywhere. I'm pretty sure I liked it at the very least. My God. It's not even in my likes. It's not in my bookmarks. It's not in my likes. Somebody must have took it down or something, I guess, because I can't find it. I'll put it in the Discord if I find it. I don't want to spend too much time looking for it right now. But it's when Vince McMahon was talking about Phil Mushnick and basically talked about the Keystone Cops that was trying to bring him down. It was a great promo. He's top tier assholing, as BG would say. He was assholing very hard on that joint. It would help if my timeline wasn't full of Tim Pool with Russian flags and shit. That would be great. That would be great, pal. But unfortunately, that's just what it is at this point in time. Um, so your boy Odyssey Jones. Let's talk about him real quick because on what was it, Monday? It came out that Odyssey Jones was removed from WWE TV due to domestic violence allegations, and everybody swore up and down that he had gotten arrested. And so I waited and waited because I wanted to see if there was going to be some details that were going to come out. And nope, no details thus far. Um, then people were saying that this guy had gotten arrested and they had found the arrest report in like Arkansas or something. Turns out there was a different guy with the same name, apparently. So I'm like, all right, look, maybe we should all just chill out. So K-Side Seats reports Odyssey Jones removed from WWE TV due to domestic violence allegations. This is from September the 3rd, 2024. Again, I don't know. We don't know if he's been arrested. We don't. This is what is mostly believed right now. It says there were more questions than answers when Odyssey Jones was removed from the WWE.com roster page over the weekend. As time passed, it became clear this was a glitch or technical editorial error on WWE's part. Jones then didn't appear or have his name mentioned on Raw for the second straight week, despite the fact that he has been involved in a program with the New Day just 3 Mondays ago. After last night's show, this is after Dave Meltzer addressed Jones' status on WrestleMania. Meltzer hadn't received confirmation from WWE sources, but said he was relatively certain that Jones' real name was done with and on from the company. A short time ago this afternoon, Sean Rossap posted the following update on X/Twitter. Odyssey Jones was removed from WWE TV when domestic violence allegations became Fightful has come. We've not heard of an arrest or charges being pressed in relation to the situation. We've reached out to WWE for comment as well as clarification on the status. Talent has not been of this situation. In a separate Fightful post earlier today, Sapp wrote that Jones has activated as bar tape and is not factored in WWE's immediate creative plans. More as we have it. Then they have an update later on saying Wrestling Observer Live, Brian Alvarez said he's been told that Odyssey Jones is fired. Alvarez referenced Fightful about the violence application, not confirmed himself. So we don't know. We don't know if this guy's been fired. We don't know if he's under investigation. We don't know what's going on, really. I guess everybody's assuming that the guy's fired now. in the Discord, I did post that there is a Twitter account that is dedicated to calling this guy a domestic abuser. Apparently, it's run by a former girlfriend who continuously posts about him being abusive, him beating her up while she was on vacation, just various things on social media. I posted that in the Discord days ago. But we got the audio for Brian Alvarez, and so I'm gonna play that for you.
I've been told Odyssey Jones is fired, and there are rumors online, also Fightful, that it was a domestic violence allegation. Apparently, no arrest at this point, but I was told fired. So that's it. I've been told.
All right. So Brian Alvarez has said that he was told that Odyssey Jones was fired. Now, again, there is an account on social media that has been up for a while. Let's see if I can find it. Oh yes, here it is. I found it. It was called "The Truth About Odyssey Jones," and it's the hash. It's at About Odyssey. It joined in July of 2024, and it says it. The first post is at Oshow94 at WWE. The world needs to know the real Odyssey Jones. Omari Jai Palmer is a woman beater. And then it continues by saying, at Oshow94 at WWE, I could have died while on vacation with him, and he wants to pretend like nothing happened and try to keep me shut. Says at WWE at Oshow94, the mental distress from your abuse needs to be known. These are all pretty much in the same day. And then it says, I'm sorry. This thing keep moving. Odyssey Jones is a woman beater, almost killed me. This is all from July 19th, by the way. So it's they said after WWE wished him a happy birthday back in May, the account responded saying, left me bruised up with a slight concussion while on vacation for his birthday. It says nothing but a woman beater, and I will no longer be quiet. Somebody was talking to Odyssey Jones and says, bro, where you at? And the truth about Odyssey Jones says, busy putting hands on women while on vacation and trying to keep me shut. Trying to keep me shut. This is all on Twitter, by the way. You can look this up yourself. He was showing a picture of a bruise he got in training, and then the truth about Odyssey Jones says, kind of like the crazy bruises you gave me. Shocker, DNA all over it. I mean, this is all on the same day. It says Odyssey Jones beating on a woman. Seen that one yet? And it says WWE, your boy Odyssey Jones is an abuser. A woman beater almost killed me on vacation. Again, this is all over social media. And this is all posted in July. So this was before he was even brought back to main roster TV, as far as I know. Odyssey CTE woman beater Jones. Odyssey Jones stole my property and almost killed me on vacation. And I come with proof. Again, this is all the same day. Like, all of these posts about Odyssey Jones are the same day, July 19th, 2024. Osho goes on vacation for his birthday, only to give the woman he was with a slight concussion and leave her bruised up. Has mental issues and pretends to mask it and cover it up. should be sick of playing like you're not a woman beater. Odyssey Jones is nothing but a woman beater and abuser. There are receipts to prove it as well. Odyssey Jones is nothing but a coward and a woman beater. He has CTE and bipolar disorder and is a completely different person behind closed doors. All this still same day. Just obsessively tweeting about this guy. Just obsessively tweeting. So it says, were you aware he was being a woman beater while being gone for his birthday? Why don't you post about how you beat women on your off days? Post about the real you, how you went on vacation on beat woman you were with and wanted to play victim. So this person may have been contacted, and maybe they're doing one of those investigations like when Velveteen Dream disappeared, and they were trying to figure out what was going on with him. And everybody thought it was because he was a pedo, and it turns out he was just an asshole. But he also could have been a pedo. We don't know. On this situation, there are so many people they just believe that Odyssey Jones is a woman beater. There's no evidence. There's not even an arrest. We don't know what the hell's going on because it all happened so suddenly and nothing was made public. So we're left with nothing but speculation. And we're just kind of like, okay, is he fired? Because this new regime isn't even saying if people are released. So we don't know what's going on. We see that they're moving on television, but that's about it. So we're at a loss. I would like to think we should wait until there's more information, but that's how we do it on this channel. I know most people don't. Most people are like knee-jerk reaction. I heard it, therefore it's true. I'm like, can we at least get an arrest? Can we at least, get some story out there, some narrative? Like I see this individual who was posting about Odyssey Jones being a woman beater, but it's not like there were any pictures or anything. It just came across like a psycho fan tweeting a lot. So maybe this person finally got in contact with WWE and there's an investigation or something like that going on, and maybe this guy is fired. Maybe he is. Who knows? We'll find out sooner rather than later, I guess. Because we haven't heard anything from Odyssey Jones either. If he had been fired for domestic violence, I would imagine he should have come out in front of that. I would imagine he should come out and say something about that. But I don't know. So we're just sitting back twiddling our thumbs. And I heard that Conan actually invited him to AAA. I don't know if that's true or not. It's because that would be weird if it was, right? Hey, come rehab your career at in Mexico. It worked for Del Rio. You beat a bitch, move to Mexico. It works for it works for Del Rio and Tessa Blanchard. So a lot of people don't like Odyssey Jones. They're kind of happy for his downfall because they have this whole he's a transphobe thing. That's kind of where they at with it. There's a lot of these people with these SJWs floating around on Twitter. Their whole thing is, well, he don't want to have sex with boys in dresses, so he's a transphobe. It's like, so what? So am I. You want me to get fired too, you weirdo? Why don't you go do something else with your life? There's got to be easier, less stressful ways to come out of the closet. So Odyssey Jones got shit canned. It's unfortunate. Maybe we're all just misunderstanding what's going on, and there's going to be some kind of clarification later. But as of right now, the only information we got is that he's gone and that he's not coming back. So unless the company decides to make it public, he's gone. And maybe somebody will ask. Maybe Triple H will get asked about it. Um, that would be nice, wouldn't it? It would be nice if somebody sent like somebody from the wrestling internet or from the wrestling media would send a letter to WWE asking, hey, there's these rumors that Odyssey Jones has been released from WWE due to, you know, uh, domestic violence. Is there any comment to be had, a kind of confirmation or denial or whatever the case may be? And then send it to WWE and then post a reply. That's all you really got to do. It would be very, very nice if all of these so-called journalists would just do something like that. It would be so easy, wouldn't it? Wouldn't life be easy if wrestling journalists would just do their job? AJ3 says, please don't let this be another Enzo incident where he lost his job due to domestic violence and his push went down the toilet. Well, that would be Rich Swann if that happened to. Enzo, it was rape. They said Enzo raped somebody. And it turned out to not be true, but he had already been fired. But that's also because he's so unlikable. And they made the decision to just get rid of him because it wasn't worth it, which is unfortunate. Like, that really sucks, doesn't it? That really, really sucks. So we're just kind of stuffed on the Odyssey Jones situation. All right, we got one more story. I might end up actually finishing up early. Okay, I'm here. My bad. I hit the mute. What was the last thing you guys heard? I've been going through this lawsuit the entire time. So I've been going through this lawsuit with Cody Rhodes. Oh my God, I've been muted. How long have I been muted? Please let me tell me where it muted, and I will just pick up from there. So it was muted for 5 minutes. So probably this entire time then, huh? This entire part about Cody Rhodes has been muted. Jeez, that's a lot. I fucking hate life. Okay, I'm not going to read all this all over again. So what happened is there's a guy who is in a punk rock band named Wesley Eisel. His band is called American Nightmare. He's been touring since I think they said 1998. He has regularly used the American Nightmare as in terms of him having American Nightmare as a trademark. And when Cody filed for the trademark in 2021 or 2019, I'm sorry, he opposed it. And then they came up with a dispute. They came up with a resolution to the dispute that allows Cody to use the trademark. Cody gave him $30,000, and he will get to use the trademark, but he has to put Cody Rhodes' name, likeness, or wrestling-related imagery in a size at least 75% larger than the American Nightmare text. So he's claiming that they're not doing that, and that's creating confusion in the marketplace, saying that it's confusing both his fans and WWE fans. And I was saying, I don't think WWE fans are confused because nobody's ever heard of this band. That doesn't mean that he doesn't own the trademark. It just means that there's no confusion for WWE fans because American Nightmare means Cody Rhodes. It doesn't mean whatever band you're in. So apparently this guy, I'm going to pick up from there. It says, among other merchandise items that allegedly violated the settlement, Eisel specifically points to the Crown t-shirt, which uses the American Nightmare text and doesn't appear to contain a specific reference to Rhodes' name or likeness or wrestling-related images. It's got his skull on it. And that's what I was saying also before I got cut out, I guess. Is his Transformer, the tattoo, which is related to Cody Rhodes, it's on this t-shirt that he's claiming violates the agreement that him and Cody made. Because it says American Nightmare, but it's like a dog, and it's got a crown with the skull on it. And it's like, and it says WWE. So why would it be confusing in the marketplace when there's a WWE label on it? We know your band is in WWE. And it got his Transformer on it. And it's got I'm guessing the white dog is supposed to be for Pharaoh, who is Cody's dog. So WWE fans are not going to be confused. And why would fans of your band be confused when the shirt has WWE on it? Why would they be confused? Now, the other shirt that's in question, it says American Nightmare on the sleeves. It has like a Grim Reaper, or is a woman with wings on it. I don't know. But I don't see like any obvious WWE imagery, so that one might be a little bit on the a little weird. Eisel claims confusion in the marketplace is evident on social media. Oh, okay. So that means that this other shirt is his band shirt. Okay. All right. I see what he means now. It's still not confusing to me because one of them has a WWE label on it. So Eisel says, quote, fans of WWE and wrestling continue to frequently tag social media accounts for the musical band, The American Nightmare, in Facebook and social media posts. To date, fans of both Runnels and American Nightmare purchased the Runnels clothes. Fans attending American Nightmare concerts and other events, including in California, and specifically this judicial district, wear both Runnels clothes and the Eisel clothes. Okay, how is that a problem? If they're buying your clothes, thinking that they're supporting Cody, and instead they're supporting you, you get the money anyway. So why do you care? It says the complaint indicates that ISO's legal representatives contacted Rose's lawyer in 2022 about the infringing Crown T-shirt design, but didn't receive a response. More recently, in April and May 2024, respectively, the Musicians Council sent separate cease and desist letters to Fanatics and Rhodes. ISO complaint says that on May 31st, his attorney received a letter from WWE that indicated that Fanatics referred the dispute to the wrestling company. Other than that, the plaintiff says he's received no other correspondence from the defendants. All right. So Fanatics just has a license to use WWE's intellectual property. If they're assuming that this issue over the licensing is a WWE problem, then Fanatics is like, okay, that has nothing to do with us. We just sell the stuff. They're the ones who are saying that they own and control the intellectual property. You have to deal with WWE. That seems fair to me. Fanatics is just a distributor. They don't make the stuff. At least I don't think so. Do they make it? Do they design these things? Maybe they do, and I don't know nothing about that. It says, in addition to recovering attorney's fees, ISO is seeking damages of at least $150,000, as well as treble damages up to $300,000 related to federal trademark infringement. It says, of course, nobody has spoken about this. It says, we contacted WWE, Fanatics, Rose trademark attorney, and ISO's attorney for this case to request comments for this report, and we will update the article when they respond. Thus, no one has responded at this point. So, I'm not saying that the guy is wrong. This seemed like another Yeet kind of situation where this guy had the everything first, but I'm not seeing how he was damaged, considering if people are still paying for his merchandise, then I know that it might cause some confusion if people think that you're affiliated with him, but then you should double up and affiliate. I mean, Cody's one of the biggest stars in the business, and this is not it's not lost on me. Let's say that Cody recently was announced by Fanatics to be their top merchandise seller. I think this was at Fanatics Fest, whenever that was. What was it, a couple of weeks ago? That he was a top star in Fanatics Fest. So it's not lost on me that this pops up at this point in time. That this guy was all of a sudden like, oh, I gotta sue you. I see you selling a bunch of T-shirts. Gotta sue you. I mean, it is what it is. It's just business. I don't take these kinds of things personal. You know, I know a lot of Cody's fans are probably going to be offended by this, but hey, I mean, it is what it is. The guy beat him to the punch. He beat him to the punch. It doesn't matter that nobody knows who this band is. You know, it doesn't matter. Even though it's true, nobody knows who the fuck this band is. Name one song from the band American Nightmare without Googling it. I don't know. Prince Noctis says, since this dude is suing them, is Cody and the WWE still going to be able to use the name while this case is ongoing? Well, it didn't seem like he was asking for an enjoyment for them to stop using it. It seems like he just wants to get paid. You know, that's what it seems like. It seems like he's not asking them to not do it. Somebody says we need blah 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 to do a guest spot on Pollock and Thrift to explain ISO's musical journey from American Nightmare to Cold Cave, his litigious past, and previous courtings with controversy via Boyd Rice. I have no idea who these people are, but it's not. It doesn't look like he's asking for Cody to stop using American Nightmare. It seems like he's basically just saying, you broke our deal, you have to pay me. But there has to be some kind of permanent resolution to this. This guy has had this band since 1998. He's not changing the name of his band. All right. So I'm pretty sure. And again, I don't know who this guy is. All I know is he's not like Rolling Stones or Guns N' Roses or Metallica or anything like that. So any money he's going to get out of this might be more money than he's ever made in the last decade. Okay. He's going to get some kind of settlement, but he's probably going to have to cough up more of these rights. He might even have to cough up the thing in totality. But this kind of stuff happens a lot in wrestling where, like with Jey Uso's situation, you end up having to pay people to use something like Sting and Hulk Hogan. Like for a while there was like this situation between Hulk Hogan and the Incredible Hulk, where you had this, because for a while, Hulk Hogan's name was the Incredible Hulk Boulder. And Marvel was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're stealing my shit. And then, of course, you had Sting. There's also an artist named Sting. So, these kind of things happen. People do that stuff. Alas, I don't think this guy's going to change the name of his band. I just don't think he's going to. If he's had a band for 2 decades, I don't think he's going to change the name of that band. But who knows? This might be a thing where he's looking to retire. And he's like, look, just give me $1 million, I'll go away. Cody Rhodes is going to make more than $1 million off his merchandise. So, look, what is he asking for? $450,000? Bump it up to $500,000. Tell the guy never bother you again. Yeah, he's asking for like $450,000. Just get a guy $600,000 and say, I'll never want to hear your voice again. I never want to see you, hear you. This one time, I'll give you $600,000. Go away. End of. There is no more of this bullshit. You can even own the trademark if you want to, but I'm essentially buying it from you. At this point, Cody needs to go ahead and buy it from him. But if the guy intends on continuing with his band, he's not going to sell it. So that's going to be the catch. But without knowing how old he is, because who knows, he might be like some kind of 50-year-old rocker, who goes on tour just because he needs the money. If that's going to be the case, then just drop him $600,000 and tell him to beat it. Double up, give him twice what he's asking for, and then tell him to get the fuck out of your business forever. That's the best way to handle this, because he is running the risk of damaging Cody Rhodes' character and the ability for WWE to make money. And WWE needs to just go ahead and pay this guy and tell him to go away forever. We're going to buy the trademark from you, and bye-bye forever. All right? Goodbye. Don't even worry about going to court. This is not worth going to court over. He's talking about, it needs to be 75% larger. This is garbage. Who the hell's doing the measurements? Just pay this guy and let him go away. A deal's a deal, man. Cody got a little excited. He's a big star now, main event WrestleMania, all this kind of shit. He forgot about this fucking guy. So go ahead and get this guy this money and tell him to go away. It's a drop in the bucket to Cody anyway. He's probably gonna, for a one-shot deal, go ahead and give him the money and tell him to beat it. Now, if the guy was really an asshole, though, he probably would ask them to stop doing it. So, all right. Sorry about the 5-minute delay, but that's really all I got. So I appreciate everybody stopping by, man. You guys have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you guys later.